Hola, clase. I'm sorry I couldn't be there with you today, but we're going to treat today just like any other grammar notes day. So if you don't already have them out, por favor, sacan los cuadernos para notas de gramática. Take out your grammar notes, please. So I'm going to go through your grammar notes. This is going to be part 1 of your grammar notes, and then there will also be a part 2. Please feel free that as I'm going through this, you can stop the video, pause the video, rewind the video as much as possible or as much as you need to make sure that you're getting all the notes down. I'm going to go relatively quickly, but again, feel free to stop it, pause it, go back if you need to. And if you have any questions, please shoot me a message either on Schoology or email, or wait till tomorrow and I'm happy to answer all of those questions for you. So let's get started. Unidad 4. El futuro y condicional perfecto. The future and conditional perfect. So the future and conditional perfect are both two compound tenses, which means that anything like in English that's compound includes two pieces. So you put the two pieces together to create the verb tense. You must have both parts. If you don't have both parts, it is not a compound tense. In addition, in Spanish, all compound tenses are formed the same way. All right? So you've actually learned two compound tenses in the past. You learned the present perfect and the past perfect in Spanish too. So now today we are focusing on the future and conditional perfect. So let's go through how to form them, and hopefully this will ring some bells in your head. Please remember that because this is a compound tense, it must have two parts. Okay, if you don't have the two parts, you're missing something. And the two parts for all compound tenses are the same. The first thing that you always must have is a form of the verb haber. That's always your first part. And then the second part is always your past participle. Okay, so those are the two parts you must have. Form of haber and the past participle. What changes between each of the compound tenses is the form of haber. The past participles stay the same. So once you learn them once, you always know how to form past participles. So speaking of los participios pasados, let's take a look at them. Our first past participle, we're going to look at our regular past participles. There are AR past participles and there are IR verb past participles, and here's how you form them. You start with your infinitive verb, which such as here we have hablar. You take off your AR and then you add the three letters ado. So you end up with hablado, which means spoken. If we take another regular AR verb, such as mirar, to form our past participle, we start by taking off the AR, then we again add ado, and we end up with mirado, which means seen or watched. And that's all there is to forming regular AR past participles. Remember, you start with the infinitive verb. Take off the AR, add ado, and you have your regular AR past participle. Now we're going to take a look at our regular IR past participle. So if we start first with beber, which is an ER verb, then we're going to take a look at vivir, which is an IR verb. The way that we do it is very similar to the ARs. This time we start with our infinitive verb, beber. We take off the ER, but instead of adding ado, we are going to add ido. So we end up with bebido, which means drunk. Now, this drunk is not the one you're thinking of. This drunk is the I have drunk the water. Okay? Then if we take a look at an IR verb here, we have vivir. Again, we start out with our full infinitive verb. We take off the IR. Again, we are going to add ido. And we end up with vivido, which means lived. Okay, so those are regular past participles. ARs, IRs, take off the infinitive verb, add ado. start with the infinitive verb, take off AR, add ado for hablado. For your ERs and IRs, start with your infinitive verb, take off either the ER or the IR, add ido, and you end up with your regular past participles. But as we talk about many times, the world is no fun if there are not irregular past participles. So we're going to go through those. Again, I hope that these look familiar to you. We've gone over them in the past. And the way that we've remembered these in the past is with the song, which we're going to talk about here in just a couple of minutes. But first, let's go through our irregular past participles. So I put these into different categories. You don't have to remember them that way. What you need to remember is the verbs that are irregular in the past participle and what their past participles are. So starting first with our cho verbs, we have decir, hacer, and satisfacer. Decir's irregular past participle is dicho. Hacer's irregular past participle is hecho. Satisfacer's irregular past participle is satisfecho. Okay, and then those are our chos. After our chos, we have our irtos. The three verbs that fall into this category are abrir, cubrir, and descubrir. Abrir's irregular past participle is abierto. Cubrir is cubierto, and descubrir is descubierto. And those are our irto irregular past participles. After arriertos, we have our stos. We have poner and we have ver. So for poner, our irregular past participle is puesto, and ver is visto. Now please remember, with verbs, other verbs that happen to have the stem verb poner inside of them, you would still make them irregular. So for example, poner has a lot of different verbs that look similar to it, such as imponer, okay, which means to input, and imponer, its irregular past participle is impuesto. As you can see, poner is sitting inside of the verb, so it also has an irregular past participle. All right, then moving on to our next type of irregular past participle are our tos and our sos. So starting with our tos, we have absolver. Its irregular past participle is absuelto. Resolver is resuelto. Volver is vuelto. Freír, frito. And just a couple more of these. Romper is roto. Morir, muerto. And escribir, escrito. Okay, those are our to irregular past participles. Absuelto, resuelto, vuelto, roto, frito, muerto, y escrito. And then our last irregular past participle is the verb imprimir, and its irregular past participle is impreso. Okay, impreso. So those are our irregular past participles. And